So, but let me first. Hopefully, most of you know who we are, icons and University of Racing. But let me just give you a little background. Icons is a solution company backed by over 30 years of industry experience, producing iconic diecasts, unique collectibles, memorabilia, and creative promotional programs, all under the University of Racing and Icons brands. Created by Icons assures you of an enjoyable and educational experience. Each one of our collectibles is backed by a factual and emotional story full of passion and dreams and a dedication to authenticity and a commitment to excellence. The University of Racing brand of diecast cars is a great example of that. That's our showcase line of diecast cars, of our historical race cars that's currently in the 124 scale. And we're going to talk more about that today. People ask me from time to time, Phil, why did you name it University of Racing? Well, we want to stir the warm and fuzzy memories of those of you that are true hardcore race fans. But we wanted to educate, and that's the key word, educate the new fan as well to these amazing cars and to the legendary drivers and the unbelievable stories that's made NASCAR the fan favorite sport that it is today. And you'll hear some of those stories today. We didn't really set out to reinvent diecasts. What we wanted to do was elevate the experience, and do that by telling these amazing stories that have never been told, maybe in many cases. Most of the race fans know about the drivers on the track today, but don't know the amazing history. And I'm a big believer in knowing where you've been before you know where you're going. We've not cut any corners in these cars. We have researched the bejeebies out of them to make sure that they're correct and authentic and of top quality in every aspect. And you've been kind enough to tell us that in many of your purchases, and you've let us know how much you appreciate our cars and the stories, and we appreciate hearing from you. It's our goal that anytime you see one of our cars, anytime you open the box, that you say, wow. I mean, we literally want you to be blown away with how our attention to detail, how the paint scheme is so correct, how the story on the boxes, stories that maybe many of you have never heard before. You'll see photographs that you've never seen before. Again, all elevating the experience. We're lucky enough today to have a gentleman that I consider one of my best friends. So you can imagine how special this is for me. And he's going to help us tell you a little bit more about the University of Racing, as well as give you a chance to ask him some questions about his career and life. So let me bring in my good friend, Mr. Bobby Allison. Bobby, thanks for being here today.
Good morning. You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Now, does he need a microphone?
Yep.
Your impressive credentials. And they are. I mean, you're third in most wins, member of the Hall of Fame. But I want folks to know how great a man you are. I want them to know how humble you are, how good a heart you have. And they know that. I mean, how many years were you a fan favorite? 6 or 7?
I was the most popular driver when it was a fan vote 6 times.
And I'm not so sure if they didn't include you on the list today that you wouldn't win it again. I mean, you're really, you're a neat guy. You've been involved in universal racing diecast cars from day one. Um, as you folks can tell, this isn't rehearsed. So, Bobby, is there anything that you want to talk about from the standpoint of your feelings about the cars and the quality? And
Well, I'm just so pleased with the quality of the car, the accuracy of the paint, but the configuration and the suspension, the steering wheel that turns the front wheels even. Uh, just really the attention to detail and especially the car you used for the first car was a really special one to me. I had two little episodes with Holman and Moody. The first time I won 3 out of the four races that I ran for them, and John Holman wasn't happy with me, so I went on down the road. And then the second time, I got a phone call in May, and the voice said, "You're going to get a phone call in 2 minutes. The answer is yes." And hung up, and I recognized the voice, and he was a person I really admired that I didn't consider him a personal friend. It was Ralph Moody. I said, "Wow, what's he calling me for?" And I was sitting there wondering what this is all about when the phone rang again. The voice says, "This is Fred Lorenzen. Ford gave me a car for Rockingham. Will you drive it?" I said, "The answer is yes." And so we went to Rockingham, and it was my first 500-mile win, first super speedway win. And then they caused the thing to come up the following week. There was a race at Weaverville, North Carolina, Asheville, Weaverville, at a track that I really liked. I had run modifieds there and had won there, and just one of those kind of places that can become a favorite immediately, and it did. And so they're going to have a race there, and so I called Freddie and I said, "How about running the Ford car at Weaverville?" "Oh, no, we won. We proved what we wanted to prove, and so we don't want to do that." So I said, "Well, I really want to go there." He said, "Well, you won the race, just go be happy, go to the beach or something." And so I thought about this, and I said, "Well, I'll just enter my own car." So I had my little Chevrolet, and I entered it, and the phone rang, and Fred Lorenzen, "What are you trying to do? You trying to embarrass me? You trying to embarrass Ford? What are you trying to do?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You entered that race with that Chevrolet after you won with a Ford." I said, "The way to keep me from running that Chevrolet, Fred, is to run that Ford." And so he says, "Hang on, I'll call you back in a few minutes." A couple of minutes he called me back. He said, "Okay, we're going with the Ford." So then we took it to Weaverville, and it was quite an exciting deal. The race probably was pretty boring all the way to the end, and then at the end had a great confrontation with Richard Petty and came out on top on that, which I was pretty happy about. And so then the next race after that was a 500 lapper at Macon, Georgia, a half-mile speedway, another track that I liked from the old days. And so went there and got to win that race, and thought that was really a neat deal. So then the fourth race was like the first week in December that year, but it was at a really special track to me in Montgomery, Alabama, where I had one of my first modified feature win of my career way back in 1959, and I was really pumped up about that, and really running good there, and saw that I could lap the other Holman and Moody cars. There were two in the race besides me, and I had lapped one of them earlier in the race, but the other one was a pretty good running car, and so I felt like, well, I could lap him. So I charged up outside of him coming for the checker flag, and and he didn't take the line I thought he was going to take, and ended up with me stuck in the wall about 50 feet before the checker flag. And another car that was quite a bit behind, in fact, was just ahead of this other guy, went around the track and came back and won the race.
Wow.
So John Holman fired me. And so, you know, it really upset me. You know, I felt like I had really given my full effort to this thing. And, why do I keep ending up having to go hunt a ride somewhere? And so I went and asked John Holman, and he confided in me that he didn't like the way Ralph Moody was doing things, and he was the majority stockholder of the company, and I was fired. So went on around on my way, and drove a year for Junior Johnson, won a lot of races, but couldn't find a place that I felt at home there. And it looked like we could put together a team that would include Ralph Moody as one of the principals, and a couple other good supporters for the 73 season. And so tried that, and that didn't work. But bottom line was that I had some good friends along the way, and people that really, really helped me, and I had lots and lots of good times. And so I rather dwell on the good times than the bad times.
Right. Well, I think I've told you this story, but I mean, sometimes I'm very thankful. Sometimes I might be upset, depending on how things sometimes go during the day with the factory. But if you remember, we came out with your car, that Coke car, number 12, 69
yeah.
Murphy. In 2009, I think it was 2009, because it was the 50th running of the Coke 600.
Mm-hmm.
And that was going to be somewhat of a little promotional piece that was offered here at the Speedway. And Bobby, it sold out like that.
Yeah.
So that's how this whole thing started. My gosh, it was out selling current driver cars. Mm-hmm. And we started doing a bit of research, and there was nothing out there telling the story, these amazing stories that you can't make up. I mean, you can't make up this stuff. And so we thought, well, gosh, there might be some legs to this thing, and that started the whole Universal Racing brand.
Mm-hmm.
Followed that with Pearson, Lorenzen, and today we've had 20 cars. 20 cars.
Holy cow.
Released.
Wow,
and getting ready to kind of sneak peek the 21st. So, yeah, it's quite a story, and it's fun. I mean, people like you, Bobby, make this fun. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed getting to know you.
And the stuff is so good, you know, this is something that's really attractive. A lot of executives like to have one of these things sitting on their desk in their office.
Yeah.
And or at least on a shelf in their office, and then maybe even another one for home and whatever. And they are really, really attractive pieces of the history that was so good to me.
It seems like to me, and you travel a lot to races today. You go to all the tracks. It seems like to us that from our research, people care about history. There's a renewed interest in history.
Yeah, you know, I get calls all the time and fan mail and requests for, and in fact, I have a few of those in the trunk of my car. If you want to buy one, I'll sell you one.
Well, look, that was our first car, and today we're going to do something we've never done before. The scheduled release of our 21st car is in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But because Darlington's coming up, the throwback theme, mm-hmm. and because we love Bobby Allison, we were going to show these folks a little, pull back the curtain, if you will, mm-hmm. on the car that we're gonna release, in about 3 weeks, our 21st release.
Yeah.
And Bobby, I'm gonna let you talk about this. This is the 1969 Dodge Charger.
Yeah.
Number 22. I don't know, that's,
Mario Rossi special.
okay.
Just, and you know, I was going through one of my situations there where I could go jump in a car and win the race, and then something would go haywire. I'd get fired, or I'd get mad and quit, or some kind of like that. And I had been through one of those deals, and drove Bill Ellis's Plymouth for the last few races for the '68 season. And he was really unhappy, you know, things hadn't gone well for him, and he had a couple of different guys driving the car on the way, and they hadn't won in a while, I guess. And so I got a win with that car, and I thought, boy, that's really good. I really had me a deal for '69. Well, Bill Ellis decided he was going to retire from racing, and so it left me out there again. But one of the guys at Chrysler knew that Mario Rossi had this Dodge that they felt like had some potential, but they had not had any success at all. And so they asked me to go over to Mario Rossi's, and I did. And this was the car. It was blue and gold, number 22. Mario had worked for Smokey Unick in his earlier mechanical career, and was really a fan of Smokey, and fond of the number 22. So he got the number 22. So that was the number 22 right there. And so I jumped in the car and went to Riverside. And I was catching on to Riverside. I thought that road racing was really neat. I think we ran pretty good at Riverside, but can't remember exactly what the deal was. But pretty early in the year, we got to win at North Wilkesboro.
Right.
And I was pretty happy about that. And then we were at Bristol a week or two or three later, and Bristol at the time had proven that it really was a driver user. I mean, you could get so wore out there. The banking at Bristol was such that you couldn't really get your breath properly. You know, you're forever pushed into the side of the seat against your ribs, and at the time the good seats weren't even thought of yet, and so Bristol had lots of relief drivers, and so I was sitting out there leading the race, and I was pretty happy about it, and they pitted me and said, look, Chrysler feels like you need to put a relief driver in the car because you're going to get tired and not be able to finish the race. And so they said, well, we have Dave Marcus standing by. Well, Dave was a really special friend of mine, still is. But Dave was there, and I didn't want to get out of the car, but it was okay with me because Dave was there. And so he got in the car, and he went on and got the win. You know, the win counted for me, even though he's the guy that drove it into victory lane. And, you know, I thought that was pretty good. Well, a little bit after that, we were looking at trying to get some financial help on the thing, and we got a little help from a friend of mine that wanted to go to red and gold with the colors. And so the car went red and gold, and then while it was red and gold, it became the Coke car.
Right.
And that was the last 4 races of the year were with Coke on the car.